Hey guys, King Shaka from JoZu Esports, and I'm here to discuss NA culture, Eastern cultures, the Chinese, the Koreans, the Vietnamese, the Japanese, why being so dominant, and what can NA do to get better on that international stage. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so we have a current international tournament that's going on. It's called Mid-Seasonal Invitational for League of Legends. And of course, by most people's expectations, the NA team lost. EU team is expected to lose as well because they barely made it in. And of course, our Korean overlords and Eastern overlords are essentially going to win this matchup. However, what I want to discuss is why do people think these NA teams are so much inferior, or these EU teams, Western teams in general, are inferior to these more Eastern teams? So first off, we're going to discuss the culture, the gaming culture over here. Here in North America, we kind of shun and look down on people who game a lot, who just spend all day just gaming, doing nothing else with their lives. We look down on it. So there's not a lot of focus here in America, as of now, for people to pursue a career in gaming, unlike in Korea or Japan or China or Vietnam, those type of countries. There's a lot higher focus on gaming there with certain games. You're not going to see a lot of Eastern teams play CSGO and Call of Duty. That's more of a Western thing. However, with games like Tekken, Street Fighter, League of Legends, WoW, Hearthstone, StarCraft 2, you're going to see a lot more focus and a lot more stringent gameplay on the Korean, Chinese, Japanese, Vietnamese side of things. So first of all, they do a lot more preparation. They do a lot more 24/7 gaming than here over on the States. We kind of focus more on having focus on player lives and player rights. So a lot of people who think they're entitled to a lot of shit can keep the performance kind of low. However, it is up to Western organizations to really, step up their game. So really, it's not come down to individual. It's more of a team-oriented focus that these Western teams seem to fail in terms of a culture. They're not really focused on being a well-oiled machine as per se. They're kind of just more focused on their feelings, while on the Eastern side, yes, you had to have cohesion between players. However, it's mainly focused on you need to be playing at a high level at all times, because most likely there is someone there to replace you. So perfect example are teams that didn't win the NALCS. Cloud9, let's just look at teams that were in the playoffs. Cloud9, Dignitas, Phoenix One, and Counterlogic Gaming. Usually when games like, and of course, can't forget FlyQuest. Never forget FlyQuest. They'll never be forgotten. Teams like that, especially if you lost in the first bracket, you might see some changes in this coming bracket. It's like, okay, what worked, what didn't work, some teams like Team Dignitas, who brought in a lot of imports and have some local people, they're not going to make any changes because they've imported people. They're in it for the long term. Usually when you import someone, you're in it for the long term. Same thing with Impact and Piglet. They're in there for the long term. They're not expected to just carry the team in one split. The team there's multiple issues with certain teams that prevent them from winning on the local stage. So when a lot of people on Twitter, because people on Twitter like to run their mouths, call these players that they suck and all this crap, without providing constructive criticism. If you say, hey, Garen, you got caught a lot, maybe tone it back a little bit, maybe have a different jungle strategy, that's criticism. If you're just saying, hey, you suck monkey balls, stop playing, you probably should just go die in the river, then you're not criticizing, you're just being a Twitter troll, which South Park had a whole series on trolls. So you're one of those people. And I pray that there's never a Skynet that reveals your internet history. But I digress. So first, these teams have to win locally. So that brings to my next point. We have the gaming culture, but now we have the international stage. How many international tournaments does a team need to have? And in order to have international experience, what does the team need to do? Well, in League of Legends, you gotta win. You gotta win your tournament, your local tournament. If you don't win your local tournament, you're not gonna get shit. You're not gonna get anything. You're not gonna have that international experience. So you can't say another team will do better internationally if they can't win locally. If you can't win locally, you can't do better internationally against these higher skill players. That's facts are facts. You gotta win local before you can go big. So you win local, all right, good. You won local. So you need to now start thinking internationally. Especially if you're a very dominant team, you should only be thinking internationally. If you think internationally, you'll win locally pretty handedly. That was seen with TSM in summer 2016, and you actually really saw it. You saw it with Logic Gaming in spring 2016 and in summer 2015. Not summer 2015 so much, but spring 2016. They made it all the way to the finals, but they got 3-0'd by SKT. But that's probably expected. So you learn from your international experience. You can't really learn from your local experience unless you lose. So if you're always winning and then you lose internationally, well, you only learn from what you did internationally. So that's why I feel like maybe we need a fourth or a third international tournament. I feel like, or like off-season international tournaments that are not just IEM. Once esports becomes bigger, I am hoping that we get a lot more game houses. So we get a lot more organizations who have challenger teams, where you develop players, and then when they're good enough, maybe you just sell your spot off and then sell your spot off to another team or whatever. I don't know how that will work, especially since if your team is bad, then they don't deserve to be in the pro leagues. But I feel like organizations need to really foster challenger teams. Maybe invest in their having a challenger team to develop new talent. So you can rotate people without having to go to different places or import different people. So importing challenger teams, having a bigger amateur scene to help improve the pro league, because once you improve the amateur scene, you have more people who can provide better insight into the game from different perspectives. So you're not just swapping around the same pool of people, you're bringing in new fishes to the pool. Koreans, they have game houses that are non-stop. I am guaranteed that they have boot camps of their own to bring in new players. So when the current players aren't performing as well, or their team isn't performing as well, now we can bring in new players, because these players are really young. They're 17, 18, 19. They're in the late teens. They're no past 20 when brought in. So 17, 18, 19, they're constantly bringing in fresh new talent, and then we over here just import them in NA. So if you're going to import, you got to improve your culture. You got to change your culture. You got to have a more Eastern mindset in order to win your local organization and then your local tournament, and then make it to the grand international stage. So that's my second point. Having more international gameplay, more international tournaments. Third point being, we need more amateur support. We kind of seen it with the collegiate stuff, but that not necessarily will translate into challenger and then LCS, because you still have to beat everyone in challenger and then beat whoever team got in relegations from LCS for that split in order to make it into LCS. So step one, make it out of challenger for a lot of these N8 teams. Step two, once you make it out of challenger, create a long-term team that can compete domestically. Once you start competing domestically, your step three is thinking about, okay, so now how can we compete internationally? This is a new experience for these guys, so we're going to create some new strategies, maybe practice some different things that will work domestically but wouldn't necessarily work internationally. So for example, not flashing fakers or on ult. For a fact that in domestically you probably can save your flash, But internationally, against certain players, you gotta flash it. If you see that ult go off, you gotta flash it. If you don't flash it, you're most likely dead. So having a different mindset internationally, you can't think that you're facing the same type of opponent. You know, you're facing international stars who have won championships, who have beaten every other team internationally. So they're a higher skill caliber. So you gotta start training for that. You gotta start bringing players that can bring that international presence. So if they can only bring it domestically, then what good are they? You know, if you're a team that's focused on winning on the international stage, you gotta swap that player out and bring in a new player, foster them in, and see if they can perform internationally well. So those are my thoughts on that. So in order for NA teams to improve, just to recap, is that we need to change our culture. We need to start fostering in more game houses. Organizations need to actually start investing into building the amateur scene, you know, at the very young age of 17, 18, 19, bringing incentive for people to grind every single day, so that they can actually become, you know, these LCS players. Esports isn't going away anytime soon. I don't think it's in a bubble for certain games, which we will touch that on a different video. But in order for these NA teams to start competing internationally, they need to start bringing in, fostering in younger talent. They need to stop importing people from Korea or these Eastern teams if they don't know how to utilize them. If you don't have a game plan for this person, don't bring them over. You're just making that person actually skillfully worse. You're bringing them down to your region standard. So if you don't have a plan for them, then don't do it. However, I do find it highly beneficial to go over to those Eastern teams and boot camp, not only for international play, but for in between splits, if possible. You're not going to be able to go over there every weekend because that's money out of the organization's pocket, not the sponsors. So going in between splits, going in the off season, doing a lot of boot camping, having a different mindset going in, thinking, and then third step, thinking internationally. If you have players who can't compete internationally, you need new players. That's a fact. If they cannot compete internationally but can only compete domestically, then they should not be on your team. They can go to a new team to help foster them in, but they should not be in your organization. You need players who can compete internationally against these high profile players. So if you have those people, you'll win your domestic tournaments hands down. You think internationally, you'll win domestically. It's a fact. It's a fact of life. So those are my thoughts on it. Leave your comments down below in the comments section. I was King Shaka from JoZu Esports, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to hit that like button. Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Hit that bell button down below to get notifications when we upload. You guys have been amazing. Also, check out our website. I'll have a link to the website down below. Follow on our social links, and I'll see you guys in the next video.